South Africa, a vibrant nation, but also a developing country where about a quarter of its 50 million citizens don't have access to electricity. The Mkhize's are a family of farmers in the tiny town of Umbumbulu, about 30 miles outside of Durban. A visit to their farmhouse home reveals that they are among the fortunate ones. Because?
But you have electricity?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For the stereo?
Yeah.
We've got a dance party.
There's not much use for electricity. A lonely light bulb strung from the ceiling, a TV that isn't even working right now. But more and more South African families want to join the Mkhize's and get onto the electrical grid.
There's still people out there that don't live the life that you and I live, and we have to address them.
Brian Dames is the head of Eskom, a company that generates just about all of the electricity in South Africa and almost half the electricity on the entire continent.
If you look at this continent at night, you'll still see it's truly a dark continent, with one exception, which is the bottom part of, which is South Africa. And that has been built on the basis of having coal available.
Because, as South Africa's president explained during the Durban climate talks, right now his country doesn't have many alternatives.
We will continue the use of fossil fuels in the short to medium term.
Like other developing nations, China and India, for example, South Africa is powering its growth and about 85% of its electricity with coal, the cheapest, most abundant, most carbon-polluting fossil fuel there is. The bottom line?
Renewable energy still costs more than non-renewable energy.
But South Africa is trying to change, enacting a 20-year integrated resource plan, an effort to diversify its energy sources. And this is how it all starts. This field of panels outside Durban, completed just this month, is the first commercial solar power project in all of South Africa.
The very good news is that we completed this from start to finish in 4 weeks.
Soitec's Vincenzo Bellini says that's one of the benefits of doing business in a developing country. You almost write the rules as you go.
The country initially had a number of stumbling blocks in order to make energy attractive because of our cheap coal. But as legislation has moved on and the price of energy is increasing sharply in this country, solar power from a financial viewpoint is becoming feasible.
But South Africa's clean energy technology isn't always exactly clean. The Marion Hill landfill outside Durban sits above a small power plant, a plant fueled by methane gas produced by decomposing trash, a seemingly endless resource.
How long before the trash we see here starts producing methane?
Within 3 months, we can detect methane gas in this waste, and within 9 months, we'll be able to harvest it.
As John Parkin explains, his team harvests the gas through wells beneath the landfill, leading here.
This gigantic pipe, John, is pulling everything underground directly from the landfill.
Yeah, so it's at a slope because you get condensation, because you're cooling of gas, and it's a wet gas.
A potent gas as well. Methane is worse for the environment than carbon dioxide. By burning that methane, the landfill, the gas plant, produces electricity from a cleaner source than coal. And it keeps the methane out of our atmosphere, burning it to turn these generators, powering more than 3,000 homes a year. The Soitec solar field will power only about 200 homes a year, which is why Eskom is now building 2 of the world's biggest coal plants to meet South Africa's appetite for energy.
Africa's key issue is adaptation. Is how do we deal with the impacts of climate change?
Not far from the Mkhize's farm in Umbumbulu, Umnagisi Membanasa, a young farmer, says he's already seeing the impacts of climate change. We talked after a recent stretch of unseasonably heavy rains.
What's happening now? After all this rain, you see what you see here.
The moss?
Stuff.
Yeah.
This stuff. This thing was not supposed to be here.
It looks more like England than it does South Africa.
Yeah, no, it's not supposed to. This thing, you find this thing along the rivers, around where there is lots of humans, but you find it here.
It's never been here before.
Yeah, it's not usual.
Membanasa plows his fields by hand. Not using tractors means far fewer carbon emissions. But he knows effective change must come on an international level.
What would your message be to all the politicians who are talking in Durban right now?
They must start implementing.
If not, The World Bank says without strong international action, without something cleaner than coal to power national growth, climate change means Africa's farmers will produce 28% less food over the next 70 years. Unless
to power the entire country with renewable resources is not really a pipe dream anymore. I think people are seeing that it's a reality. It could be achieved.
But it's more likely that this country, like other developing nations, will need all the energy it can get, clean or not.
But I think the key point I'd like to leave you with is that South Africa needs a balance of all its natural resources to meet its energy needs.